Welcome everyone to the second annual Whiskey Cigars Football. I'm Dave. This is George.
Well, it's not really annual now, is it?
It's not annual.
Yeah,
it's just the second version. We may have had a couple of these. Second version. Welcome to Whiskey Cigars Football. We are going to start with whiskey, then we're going to go to cigars, and then I'm going to turn to my draft expert, or draft expert, whatever you like to call it.
Just the draft expert out of the two of us. I wouldn't say overall.
Yeah.
Compared to the two of us, I'm the expert.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll end up seeing. But the whiskey we're going to go with is Writer's Tears. Hopefully you guys can see that.
A lot of Eagles writers will have tears in their eyes tomorrow for this friggin' draft.
I consider myself an Irish whiskey expert, but that's in my own head. I actually thought George was going to bring us a bourbon today, but he came up short.
I did it for you.
Yes,
fucker.
But I appreciate that. And this is exceptional. This is an exceptional whiskey. George, I know you don't necessarily like Irish whiskey.
I like Irish whiskey. Listen, I love Irish whiskey.
But would you agree would you agree this is exceptional?
It's very good. Yeah. I'm just a big bourbon guy. It doesn't mean I don't like Irish whiskey. I'm
a
big steak guy. Doesn't mean I don't like cheeseburgers.
That's true too. Dash is a sweet vanilla with notes of cinnamon, plum. It's like triple oaked, American, Kentucky, French. I have no idea what they do this. It's just phenomenal, right?
Very
good.
Delicious.
For all of you out there, and it is a little expensive. What would $55? So, I know some of you cheap guys out there, you can't afford that, but
it's not that they can't afford. Maybe
no one's going out to bars right now because of COVID. So spring, right? Spring for the 58.
I'm going out. To
well,
bars.
You're going out to bars,
yeah,
but it's great. I cannot recommend it enough. It's phenomenal. To the folks at Writer's Tears and my brethren in Ireland, Cilantro.
All
right, we're going to move on to cigars, and we are looking at a All Saints Dedicación. Yeah, and I will let George go.
This is my boy Mickey Pegg. This is a Philadelphia business. These cigars are made at the Rocky Patel plant in the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
Some bitterness to it, but I think a really nice everyday cigar.
That's fair.
Yeah, something that you just want to, sitting on the porch, just have one and chilling, and maybe you're giving a few out to friends. Only about $9 a cigar, so it's not cheap, but it's not expensive.
Yes.
Kind of right in the middle of the road there, but I've enjoyed it. It smokes really well.
Yes. I was expressing my concerns about it, but if you've noticed, I'm almost down to the nub. So, with that being said, I'm a bit of a degenerate. So, who knows? But obviously now we're going to move on to football.
Football.
Thank you to Writer's Tears. Thank you to All Saints. And we're specifically going to talk about the NFL draft, which is, I know, what everyone wants to talk about. We consider ourselves basement experts, and that's a key word there, basement experts, right?
Yeah.
But
especially you.
Especially me. But we're going to walk through the first 12 picks and then spend a little bit of extra time on possible scenarios for the Eagles. And with that, I'll turn it on to our basement draft expert, Mr. George. So, George, who's the first pick, and where are we going with that?
Well, I think the first and second pick, I think everybody in America could get right. Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville. Zach Wilson's going to the Jets. I think where the draft really kind of starts is pick number 3 in San Francisco.
Okay, that's fair. And I have no disagreement there. When I have a disagreement, I will talk. But what's going to happen to number 3?
But, there's been a lot of smoke here. Everybody's reporting Mac Jones. Mac Jones seems like a little weird because Shanahan typically likes to move the pocket, and you would think that Lance and Fields would be kind of the better guy.
So you're saying Mac Jones doesn't even have the athletic ability to get out of the pocket?
I'm saying that he didn't do that at all at Alabama.
But maybe was he asked?
Exactly. Maybe.
Good point, people.
Maybe they're just so talented at Alabama that they didn't ever have to do that. And I think a lot of that goes to what they're seeing in their pro days. Supposedly, the personnel department really is pushing for Lance, but Shanahan's really pushing for Jones. I think it's Lance. I think Lance goes there. It's just my gut feeling. I think he's the.
Did you wear red today because of like a Tiger Woods thing? Like in your the final day of the draft?
The final.
Is that what it's about?
I wore it. It's like Alabama covers because I hope we get Surtain.
All right, pick number 4.
Well, Atlanta's going to get
This is
$1
big.
million.
This is where the whole draft starts, in my opinion.
Atlanta gets $1 million probably offers here, and I think if somebody blows them away, it could make sense definitely for them to.
They get offers for what? They get offers for quarterbacks, offensive linemen. They get quarterbacks for receivers or D-backs.
I think it's when you're going up to 4 and what you're going to have to pay to move. It's for a quarterback.
What teams may move to Atlanta?
I think you're looking at New England, Washington, and Chicago make the most sense, and even potentially Denver. And I know Denver got Teddy Bridgewater today, but he's a stopgap. I think he's maybe he starts the first half of the season while the rookie learns. But I think there's some definite some interest in that pick. I know that the Arthur Blank supposedly has some interest in quarterback.
Justin Fields, I've heard.
Yep.
Who knows?
Matt Ryan's 36. Maybe it's
Matty Ice.
Maybe Penn
hangs
Charter,
out in Seattle.
Westchester, Penn Charter. Local guy.
I think Matty Ice is still a decent player, man.
And I think if you're Atlanta, I think the biggest problem they had last year was they're on their defensive side of the football, and with a new coach there, I really think that if I'm a new coach, I want Matt Ryan as my quarterback.
You don't want to do that.
I think they go Kyle Pitts. I think you and I have different opinions on Kyle Pitts.
If Atlanta takes the pick, they go Kyle Pitts.
They go Kyle Pitts.
I think they're trading out.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
No, and it's a very likely.
All
right. 5, Cincinnati. I just
another wild card in my opinion.
Another wild card. Forever it was Sewell. I just think Chase is a special player, and I think if you have Joey Burrow and the NFL right now is putting points and throwing the football.
And where did Burrow go to college?
Both went to LSU.
So both went to LSU. There's no way Burrow's not telling him to take Chase, in my opinion. Can you get another offensive lineman later in the draft if you're the Bengals? Top of the second round, right? You'll be top of the second round.
You're not going to, it's not a super...
They need an offensive lineman.
They do, and it's not a super deep draft for tackles. So, but hey, maybe you trade back in. Maybe somebody slips and you can pick back up. And,
that's another great point. You could trade back in.
So I think they go Chase. 6 is Miami. I think Miami's wants playmakers around Tua. They had a good defense.
So if the Bengals take Chase,
yep.
Who are the Dolphins taking?
I think they go Waddle.
I think they go Waddle.
Oh, I think it's between Smith and Waddle, and Waddle's just climbing the boards, and I would go Smith.
And I think Waddle's only climbing the boards because of size. It's not production. It's size.
He's really not that much bigger than Smith.
You know what? I don't even know that. How big is Waddle?
Waddle is 5'11", 6 foot 175, 180, and that's he's an inch or two taller than Smith. They're not 5 pounds and an inch or two. It's not like Waddle's 6'4" and 215.
Right.
But I'll go with Waddle from what we're hearing.
Detroit wild card.
I think Detroit takes the wide receiver. If they don't make a trade, they take the wide receiver that Miami doesn't. And between Chase, Smith, Waddle, I think they're taking.
You think Smith could go as high as 7?
I do. I honestly believe that Detroit is going to be taking phone calls to trade. I think that's your first really big possibility.
I think Atlanta's your first.
Well, Atlanta, I just, if Atlanta's going to do that, Atlanta's really, you're going from 4 to 15 at the earliest. Unless Denver's the other wild card.
If Atlanta trades out, what's going to be their haul? Is it a first next year? Is it 2 firsts? Is it first and a second?
I think
what is it?
If they trade with New England, they're getting the 15th and the 2 firsts.
2 firsts
and the 15th this year.
You're getting the 15th this year, and then a first next year, and then another first, and
I think
subsequent.
to move all the way up to the 4, I think that's what you're giving up.
I don't think Belichick will do that.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay.
And that's why 8. And here's another team that obviously could trade back. If you look at it, that Dallas and the Giants aren't taking a quarterback, and that the Vikings and Chargers aren't taking a quarterback. So it's 10, 11, 13, 14. So I think you'll see that 7, 8, 9. A lot will depend on I believe what Denver does, because they have the best ability to move. For them to move 9 to 7, doesn't cost them that much. 3rd round pick, maybe a 2nd. So I think you'll see some offers for that. If they keep that, I am going to go with J.C. Horn going to the Panthers.
Wow. See, I don't see that. I see the Panthers going offensive line, without a doubt, or trading down. That's what I see.
think trading down is the probably most likely, but I think they go defense. I do. I think they, Sewell makes a lot of sense.
I think last year they had like 10 picks last year. They did 9 on defense. Something ridiculous like that. I could be wrong. Please don't quote me on that. But they went heavy on defense last year, so I can't imagine they're doing that this year. But you are the basement draft expert.
I am not the draft expert, but I do think you need corners, and I think Horn's a big corner.
So you have Horn rated higher than Surtain in your basement rankings.
I think they're neck and neck. From everything that I've read, Rule likes Horn, but
okay.
You could easily see Sewell in there as well. I think.
Wow. So we have Sewell. Just so everyone knows, we have Sewell now going to 9.
And I think this is where Denver makes that decision on what quarterback's there, because I think they either take Sewell or they take
they have Fields or
Jones in my book, because I have Lance going 3rd.
Oh, that's right.
But I think that's their.
I don't think there's any way Denver doesn't take a quarterback. Anyway, because I think they know Drew Lock can't play.
Or Teddy Bridgewater. So if we go,
but they are. But that trade tells you that they're thinking, if we can't get the trade that we want, or the quarterback, they don't think that the quarterback they want is falling to them, or they wouldn't have made a Teddy Bridgewater trade today. Would you agree with that?
I would agree to the point that Teddy
They
Bridgewater
don't think the quarterback they want is falling to 9. Agree or disagree? And my point is, there's quarterbacks. That doesn't mean Denver wants that quarterback.
Oh no, absolutely, and that's the thing. Is like, I mean, I don't know what John Elway's thinking. I don't know what they're thinking.
I think he's out of it now. Isn't he more in the owner's box?
Yeah, but I don't know what they're going to do as far as quarterback. But I think you still have 2 quarterbacks on the board. If you don't like either one of those quarterbacks, you have an offensive lineman in Sewell, or you trade back. I think you definitely trade back. That's where New England goes, hey, from 15 to 9, it's not.
Yeah, for a minimal, not for multiple.
Mac Jones is still there. We can move up. We can get Mac Jones, and then.
Or if you Denver, you get offers from New England. You have offers from the Bears. You have offers from
everybody,
who's the other? Washington. You have offers from Washington,
and then you at 15 you can grab a Parsons, and somebody like that, and still have a really nice
or an offensive lineman, which is where I think they.
Well, I think this is where offensive linemen. I think the Giants are the wild card here, and I think they go offensive line. I think if Sewell or Slater are there, I think the Giants go offensive line.
Okay, that's great. So now we're on to Dallas,
and I think that's their team.
And I disagree with you there. I think Dallas is going offensive line. They have so many injuries. They have so many issues. I think the whole Surtain thing is just Dallas is feeding everybody that they're going corner. They went corner last year. They're not going corner again this year.
But you have Diggs and Surtain. Those are your 2 corners for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Their defense,
but we don't have Slater off the board yet, right? Do we have Slater?
No, we don't. And their defense is terrible. That defense is terrible.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Dallas
Defensive
goes
starter.
offensive line. There's no doubt in my mind Dallas goes offensive.
I would love that because that means Surtain falls to the Eagles.
All right, so now we're at the Eagles pick, and then we're going to stop here. Eagles pick.
Well, if Surtain's on the board, I think you go Surtain. I think if there is an offensive line, they love offensive linemen.
Yes, they do.
You and I, offensive,
They do.
defensive linemen, we've kind of gone back and forth. Is it Pay? Is it Slater? You know, I think one of those things, or, you know, I think the Chargers want offensive line.
Yes.
So if you're not in love with Slater, you don't trade back. You know what I mean? Or I should say, excuse me, if you love Slater, you don't trade back.
No.
Because he's not going to be there moving back a couple of picks there. So I think if Surtain's there, how he should run to the podium, take down his mask, and say Patrick Surtain.
I agree with George. If either of the corners are there, they will run to the podium and take it. I do think teams are going to try to trade up, not just for quarterbacks, but for offensive linemen. And with that, we'd like to say sláinte,
Slancher.
and we will see you next time.